there's a major economic coordination failure going on in Gallatin County. Over 50% of Gallatin County's residents works outside the county, and that's fine. You can have your own personal choices and do what you want to do. But the reason why it's an issue is because the jobs aren't provided within the county, so people have to drive really far away. It means you have to have a car, insurance, you have to get all this stuff. So really, if you're not from, a wealthy family or a family that can provide those things before you go and get a job, then how are you going to go out there and get it? How are you going to, you have to hitch a ride or something. You have to carpool, by any means necessary. There's not transportation for the poor, and so if you're poor, you're pretty much stuck to the jobs that Gallatin County has to offer. Another major reasons why an economic coordination failure is going on, because Gallatin County doesn't have the industries and the business to provide the jobs for all of its people. The people, when they go out of town, they're paying, other people's taxes. So Carroll County has a long corridor of just a shit ton of factories and, places that people can work, and that's where a lot of people do work over there. And that's wonderful for Carroll County, because Carroll County gets, those tax dollars from the business itself. They could, they tax the business itself for, property and for doing some of the other things. And then they also get the taxes from the workers, from the income. So if you're working in Carroll County, you're paying for their schools. You're paying for their children. You're paying for their roads. If you work in Indiana, you're paying for Indiana roads. You're paying for, Belterra. If you work in Belterra, you're helping to pave their roads. You're helping to pay and educate their kids. If you work in Florence, you're helping, their kids. That tax dollars isn't coming back here. So we're not getting the tax dollars with the industries. We're not getting the tax dollars with the working class people. Even when Mr. French in Warsaw just wanted to raise like some tiny tax up a half a cent in order to be able to pay the extra, enormous bills that they got. They had to get that brand new fucking fire truck, right? And so just 1/2 cent, people flip the fuck out. Like, how dare you fucking tax? And you know what? That's probably right, because you're taxing the poor people that's left in Warsaw, and you're not, the people that actually have the money are living in the hills and they got land and shit. So, I'm not saying tax them more. I'm just saying that the taxes that they do already pay could be better distributed. If we had industry in Gallatin County, you would, like Gallatin Steel. So Gallatin Steel actually gives Gallatin County money, and anybody that works at Gallatin Steel, you're paying. So if you work at Gallatin Steel, your money is going for our schools, or going for Gallatin County schools, and you're going for the roads and bridges and, any of the other projects that Ken McFarland or the government of Gallatin County at the time decides to use the tax money for. Okay, so I was talking about the origins of the names of the cities and of Gallatin County itself, and I've already, so we've gone through a lot of them. We've gone through Gent, which was a Dutch influence, Sparta's Greek influence, Glencoe's Scottish, Napoleon's French, and Warsaw is Polish, and Gallatin County is Swiss. So we have, shit ton of culture in the names. At one time, whoever named the names in Gallatin County were cultured people. I mean, to know Glencoe is the Highlands in Scotland, and that there was a massacre, to call yourself Warsaw after the Polish revolutionaries took Warsaw back. To Gent, to call yourself Gent because, Henry Clay made a deal in the Treaty of Gent ending the War of 1812. Like, this is genius. This is incredible stuff. Sparta, I really like the name Sparta. Napoleon, I don't give a fuck for. He was just a fucking tyrant, right? And he fucked over the French and, he fucked over Haiti and, just a fucking imperialist that was just trying to fuck everybody over. And then, let's see. And in Gallatin, he was a Swiss, Secretary of Treasury, and he studied Native Americans, and he was really actually embedded in the beginning of the founding of this nation. There's lots of shit that's named after Albert Gallatin. I don't know if Albert Gallatin actually took a step in Gallatin County, just like I don't know if George Washington took a step in Kentucky, even though there's Georgetown and Old Washington, which is named for him. But regardless, it's a namesake, and it's to honor Mr. Albert Gallatin. So, Gent. Yeah, I mentioned something about Gent in my other videos I'd gone through. All I got is Gent and Warsaw left to do now. So, Gent is a 6th-class city along the south bank of the Ohio River in Carroll County in the United States. Population is 371. I include Gent because that was my mailing address growing up. I lived right on the line. Gent's kind of in no man's land. They got KU. They got a little town there. Got a little bar, a little mayor, subway. You know, they got little things happening there, and it's really far away. Like the people in Papa John's and some of the pizza places in Carroll County would never come all the way up to us, but they would go to KU, right? So, you know, they would drive 30 fucking minutes in order to deliver a fucking pizza, which is amazing. You know, that's amazing. They also call Gent Cancer Valley because of KU. They're polluting all over the place, so everybody's getting cancer around there. Kentucky is #1 for cancer in all places. We're also #1 for pollution, and directly related to the coal plants. We also have a sludge coal ash pond, you know, that all the arsenic and all the fucking residue and bullshit that comes out of these fucking coal burning power plants are being dumped into, not just the coal power plants in Gent, but coal power plants all throughout the state. They're going to dump it. They're going to have a big old fucking facility and just dumping it right there. Because, you know, who gives a shit about the fucking backwoods of Gallatin County? Or the border of Carroll and Gallatin. It's kind of no man's land, right? Nobody wants to drive out there for anything. Fire, police, anything. Shit, we got to go all the way out there. So I'm going to include Glencoe, or Gent. And Gent was settled at the end of the 18th century, and it was first known as McCool's Creek settlement. So McCool. Gent used to be fucking McCool. Which I'm going to write down because I like McCool. McCool just sounds fucking, it sounds fucking cool. McCool's Creek settlement. So I guess it was probably a man named McCool. The town was laid out in 1814. And Henry Clay is the one who alleged to have suggested the name, which was derived from the Belgian city, which was then part of the Netherlands, where the treaty ending the War of 1812 was signed between the United States and the United Kingdom on Christmas Eve, 1814. So the Treaty of Gent was signed, stops the War of 1812. United Kingdom, British, and the United States quit fighting amongst each other over who's going to steal the Northwest Indian land, because that would have been the third white civil war for Indian land. The second one was the Revolution, and the first one was the French and British Indian War, Amerindian War. So the I don't know. It's Henry Clay's kind of a back and forth. Henry Clay was he was a plantation owner, right? He was a plantation owner, 3-time presidential election loser. He ran for president 3 times, lost all those times. He has a famous quote: "I'd rather be right than to be president." And okay, good, you was right, but you're not president, and you weren't even right. Like when it comes to he is a slave owner himself, right? And he's but he was actually more progressive than most of the folks of his day, because he was advocating I guess colonization, where they would send them back to Africa, right? Have black folks, the slaves, be sent to Africa, and then have them live in Africa somewhere, wherever the fuck, you know, these shippers would send them to. That's not any fucking solution. It's a shitty solution. Even though Marcus Garvey would have been, he was down with it. He was like, shit, you want to send me back to fucking Africa? Where's your check? Where's the boat? I'm going to get on right now and fucking get the fuck out of this shithole. So Marcus Garvey would have been in favor of the Back to Africa movement. Henry Clay was in favor of it. Henry Clay, the positive things is that he inspired Abraham Lincoln. He stood up against Andrew Jackson and a lot of his policies. And the moderate position of slavery was in the right direction, right? So he wasn't for full-blown emancipation just yet, but his more progressive stance than everybody else allowed for a Lincoln to come through. And he was an inspiration to Abraham Lincoln. So Henry Clay says, hey, gents, why don't you name yourself after the fucking treaty where we signed, you know, to end the fucking war? And then they did. Gent's post office opens in 1816. January 17th, 1839, the Kentucky General Assembly formally established the city of Gent and appointed Theodoric Fisher, Samuel Sanders Jr., James Knox, John C. Lindsay, and Richard Sarles as its trustees. So they had, what, 5 fucking people fucking running the whole show? So they appointed 5 motherfuckers to run the whole damn thing. Notable person that comes out of Gent: Edwin Otway Burnham, rifle shooting Presbyterian missionary who moved to the Sioux Indian Territory and could bark a squirrel, swing an axe, or dispense gospel with equal fervor and efficiency. Yeah, whatever. So That's Gent. War of 1812 is kind of bullshit, but that's it's the Netherlands, the Belgiums. It's Dutch. There's a Dutch influence, at least on the east or western side of Gallatin County, and the eastern edge of Carroll County. And that's another thing. I don't understand the rivalry when you work in Carroll County and you're paying their taxes. So actually, if you work in Carroll County, you're helping Carroll County schools and you're not helping Gallatin County schools. Make your money, get your job so you can pay for the things that you need to pay for. But I'm just saying, as a county as a whole, there's an economic coordination failure. Over half the fucking residents have to go somewhere else in order to get a job, so it allows a whole host of problems. Warsaw, Kentucky. So where did Warsaw, Kentucky, where did they get its name, right? According to Bogardus, Carl Bogardus, he had said that he mentioned Beale, a man named Beale had read Thaddeus, I think Thaddeus of Warsaw or some shit. So he said that's where it came from, but he said a different name, and then another author said that's where it came from, this book, Thaddeus of Warsaw, but then they said it was somebody else who had suggested it. So there's reasons to not believe either one of those stories. The most likely, the story I believe, is that they was named after Polish revolutionaries, okay? So, Warsaw, Kentucky, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. It's the county seat for Gallatin County. It's where the courthouse is, right? And the courthouse is the political center for the entire town. Along the Ohio River, the population was 1,811 at the 2000 census. And it's the county seat of Gallatin. It's named after, it says Warsaw, Poland is what it says. So, it began as a landing on Ohio River in 1798. In 1805, founder Colonel Robert Johnson surveyed and built a road from this landing to his former home in Scott County. The landing soon became a busy shipping port. 1814, Colonel Johnson and Henry Yates purchased 200 acres to establish a river town to be named Fredericksburg after Johnson's hometown in Virginia. By 1815, the town plot was complete. The town extended from the river to Market Street and included 172 numbered lots, each 28.5 by 99 feet. In 1831, the town was renamed Warsaw. That's actually the 28.5 by 99 feet. I wonder where they get that measurement. In 1831, the town was renamed Warsaw. So 1831, it was renamed Warsaw. So remember that date, okay? 1831. Now, it was 1837, the Gallatin County, Kentucky seat was moved from Port William to Warsaw. So Port William used to be where the the capital of Gallatin County was, and then they go to Warsaw. The oldest home in Warsaw is the Henry Yates House, a home built of log construction. It was built in 1809. So the oldest home is the Henry Yates House, a home built of log construction, built in 1809. 1809. And who owns that house? I mean, I think that's a badass the Henry Yates House. It's the oldest house, I guess, in Warsaw, the Henry Yates. And who is Henry Yates? Who the fuck is this guy? So that's some cool shit. There's also the Warsaw Historic District was named to the National Register of Historic Places in 1982, year of my birth. It's roughly bounded by the West High, East Franklin, Washington Market, Main, 3rd, 4th, and Cross Streets. But they're saying that there's architecture there is Italianate and Gothic Revival. So there's Gothic architecture and there's Italianate, so I guess Italian architecture. So there's there's Gothic, which is sort of, well, you know what Gothic looks like, right? So according to the census of 2000, there's 1,800 people. There's 93% is white, 5% is black, less than 0.1% is Native American, 0.5% Asian, and maybe 1.2% Hispanic. There's I guess I could say the poverty rates too. The poverty rates of Warsaw, and actually I should have mentioned it for Gallatin County, but the poverty rates for Warsaw, 16.8% of families and 20% of the population were below the poverty line, including 23.7% of those under age 18 and 66. So one-fifth of the population's poor in Warsaw. So where are they going to get a job at? If they don't have a car, they don't have, they can't hitch a ride, they're pretty much fucked. Richard Yates was born in 1818. His family moved to Illinois in 1831. He subsequently studied law at Transylvania University in Kentucky, went on to serve in the Illinois House of Representatives in the United States House of U.S. So Illinois House of Representatives, U.S. House of Representatives, then he was governor of Illinois. Richard Yates! Who the fuck is Richard Yates? Richard Yates came out of Warsaw, okay? Warsaw. So you can't even say, like, well, what part of Gallatin County? No, he's Warsaw. Like, that's where the fuck, you know, he came from. Warsaw, right? So 1831 was when they changed the name, but he was in Fredericksburg at the time. But they changed the name in 1831. So that's, you know, that's wonderful. Everybody calls it fucking Warsaw, but it used to be Fredericksburg. So what the fuck, y'all don't call it Fredericksburg no more? Isn't that the original name? You motherfuckers call shit the original name, right? You don't ever, if somebody changes the name, you don't go along with it. KU, right? They're owned by PP&E. Do you call KU PP&E, or do you still call KU? No, that money's going to Kentucky. That shit's going to fucking Pennsylvania.